What if I told you that today a police officer may have to fight a battle without firing a single bullet? A WhatsApp message can trigger violence. A fake SIM card can become a tool of national security. A rumor on social media can turn into a mob. And at the same time, the same police force may be rescuing people from floods, fighting drug networks, and protecting children. This is the Assam that Harmeet Singh IPS is policing today. And his journey is fascinating because he didn't begin by studying policing, criminology, or even law. He studied history. Hello, I'm Sabit from Indian Masterminds, and today we are looking at the extraordinary journey of the man who went from studying history at St. Stephen's College to becoming the Director General of Police of Assam, navigating insurgency, drugs, misinformation, cyber threats, borders, and even some of the state's worst crises. And there is a lot more to his story than the uniform. Before we understand Harmeet Singh, we need to understand the Assam he is policing. Because Assam is once again battling one of its oldest and most destructive enemies, floods. In August 2026, severe flooding has continued to affect the state with nearly 1.4 lakh million people across 7 districts impacted, while the death toll has reached 100. And this isn't an occasional problem. Almost 39.6% of Assam's land is officially classified as flood-prone. The Brahmaputra and its tributaries repeatedly reshape the lives of people living along them. So, in Assam, policing isn't just about catching criminals. It can mean responding to disasters, managing law and order, protecting vulnerable communities, and keeping an already complicated state functioning during a crisis. And at the center of that enormous responsibility today is Harmeet Singh. Born on 30 December 1968, Harmeet Singh's home state is Punjab, but his academic journey took him to Delhi. He studied history at St. Stephen's College, completing his BA honours between 1986 and 1990. He then went to Punjab University for his master's degree in history, and then came the turning point. In January 1993, Harmeet Singh entered the Indian Police Service as a member of the 1992 batch Assam-Meghalaya cadre. Think about that. A man trained to understand the forces that shaped societies was now entering a profession where he would spend decades dealing with those forces on the ground. And over the next 3 decades, Assam itself would change dramatically, so would policing. Singh's career has covered some of the most complicated areas of policing: counter-terrorism, internal security, conflict management, radicalization, cybersecurity, administration, and border policing. But the most interesting thing is how closely his career reflects Assam's changing security landscape. There was a time when the state's major threats were insurgency and militant violence. But slowly, the threats began moving: drugs, cybercrime, digital fraud, misinformation, online radicalization. And suddenly, one of the most dangerous places for a police officer to look wasn't necessarily a forest or a border. It was a smartphone. In 2018, 2 young men were lynched in Karbi Anglong, where rumors spread that they were child abductors. For Assam police, this was a disturbing realization. A rumor traveling through a phone could become a law and order crisis on the ground. At the time, Harmeet Singh, then additional DGP, was placed in charge of the police social media initiative. And the police started changing the way it used platforms, such as they weren't simply posting press releases anymore. Social media became a tool for public communication, intelligence, and misinformation control. And then came a remarkable example of what this new form of policing could actually do. Facebook alerted Assam police about a young woman who appeared to be contemplating suicide. The social media team traced her, they located her family, and police intervened. It was a completely different kind of policing. No chase, no raid, no gunfight. Just technology, communication, and intervention. The police had entered the smartphone age. When Singh became Commissioner of Police Guwahati, another battle came sharply into focus: drugs. Within weeks, Guwahati police had arrested more than 100 people and seized narcotics worth over 21 crore. But Singh didn't want the police to fight the drug network alone. The drugs infolin was introduced, encouraging citizens to share information and become partners in dismantling trafficking networks. And hundreds of kilograms of seized narcotics were subsequently destroyed. But the criminals were changing too. The threats was moving deeper into the digital world. In 2025 came Operation Ghost SIM. The operation exposed an alleged network involving fake SIM cards, OTPs, and Pakistan based handlers. And this is where modern policing gets fascinating because sometimes the weapon isn't a gun, it can be a SIM card, an OTP, a WhatsApp account, a digital identity. Singh's career had now moved from the physical battlefield to an invisible one, and this is perhaps the most unexpected part of his story. For an officer whose career has involved counter-terrorism, drugs, borders, and internal security, Singh has also been closely associated with child-friendly policing. He helped drive Sishu Mitra, Assam Police child-friendly policing initiative developed with the UNICEF and UTSAH. The objective was to change how children encountering the justice system was treated. Not simply as cases, but as children who needed protection, dignity, and rehabilitation alongside investigation. And that contrast is striking. The same officer dealing with counter-terrorism and border security was also helping create systems intended to make police stations safer and more child-friendly. In January 2025, Harmeet Singh took temporary charge as Assam's DGP, and in May 2025, he was formally appointed to the post. Today, he heads the police force of a state dealing with an extraordinary mix of challenges: floods, border security, organized crime, drugs, cyber threats, misinformation, and traditional law and order problems. Under his leadership, Assam Police has reported a sharp decline in crime rates along with major improvements in charge sheeting and case disposal. But perhaps the most interesting story isn't just the numbers, it's what those numbers represent. When Harmeet Singh entered the IPS, Assam's biggest security battle were largely fought on the ground, with guns, with personnel, with insurgents. Today, the battlefield can look completely different. It can be a flooded village, a border outpost, a drug network, a social media post, a cyber scam, or a single phone carrying a dangerous rumor. And that is perhaps the most fascinating part of Harmeet Singh's journey. He began his career studying history, trying to understand the forces that shape societies. 3 decades later, as Assam's top cop, he is dealing with those forces in real time. Because Assam has changed, the threats have changed, and policing has changed with them. The historian who once studied how societies evolve is now responsible for protecting one that is evolving right in front of him. I am Sabit from Indian Masterminds, and this was the story of Harmeet Singh IPS, Assam's top cop navigating the journey from insurgency to cybercrime.